This morning, the children taught us an important lesson about where God is. And we learned it through our Greek alphabet. Now, I'm going to see if the adults were listening to what I taught the children. What does this Alpha and Omega thing mean for us about where God is? All right, you all passed, even if you failed. So the truth is, God's all around us. Before our beginning, God was. After our ending, God is. God will be. It's the mystery of our faith that God is always around us, always near us. But here we have a passage in chapter 14. It's part of Jesus' farewell passage. He knows it's coming to an end. His work with these 12 plus folks who followed around with him is coming to an end. And he wants to leave a word of encouragement that they're not going to be alone. Because, and they didn't get it. Let's get it. If you don't get the Christian message, if you don't understand it in your head, it's okay. It really is. Because if we're really honest, even those who've been doing this thing for all of our lives, we don't understand it either. We can never wrap, how can you wrap a finite brain around the infinite? You can't. None of you can explain infinity to me. Even the mathematicians among you could draw some diagrams and make me feel small. But in the end, you can't explain that truth. And what God wants us to know, and it's talked about in this passage, is not the kind of knowing where you know all the facts about God, because none of us do. I would like to tell you I know a lot of facts. I would like to tell you that. It would probably maybe be true. See, Vivian is calling me out already. James, no, I know enough. I know enough for me right now, because faith isn't about knowing everything. If I was absolutely certain, it wouldn't be faith anymore. It would be something else. It would be certainty. We wouldn't need to do this thing anymore. You'd all be certain. You know, even Jeremiah, in the Jeremiah passage, Jeremiah is told there's a time coming when you won't even have to preach anymore, because it's all going to be written on everybody's heart. Jeremiah 31. Read it. Well, we're still not at that time yet. And why? Because we forget, we don't remember, and we need to learn what love looks like. Because in the end, the thing that God wants us to know, the commandment that he gives us, the last commandment in the Gospel of John, this is my commandment to you, that you love one another. That's the commandment. You may have a list. Now, one of the challenges of this passage, I grew up with this passage. Maybe all of you grew up with the passage. Let's just assume everyone grew up with the passage, but if you didn't grow up with the passage, don't worry about it. I'll explain why I think it. Verse 15 says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And you know what we think that means? We immediately translate that into moral rules. If you keep the rules, everything's good. It's not about rules. I think rules are good. We need to have some. The United Methodist Church has a thick book of rules, thicker than the Bible. So we are all about rules. This is a rule group. But what the rule is that we love, that we live in love. So if you love me, you'll keep in touch with me. And the way you'll keep in touch with me is by living the kinds of rules I've given you. And what was the most recent rule I gave you? Love one another. If you can get that right, then you love me. Because to love me is to love your neighbor. It's to love each other. The lovable ones and the unlovable ones. And let's just be honest. We know some unlovable people. You could be sitting next to one right now. Somebody you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm sitting next to the most unlovable person I know. And James is telling me I got to love him. Yes, I am. But it's not on my own authority. It's on God's. Jesus' farewell message was, just remember, if you want to stay close to me, if you really love me and want to stay close to me, this is what matters. That you follow the rule of loving one another. He goes on to say, listen, you think you're going to be alone. I'm going to be dead. You're going to watch it. Actually, most of you are going to run away. You're not going to stay around and see it because you're chicken. If you're women, you're going to stay around and watch to the bitter end. You did not abandon Jesus. Yay, women, boo, men. But I'll try to find a better message than that the next time when it's Father's Day. But the women hung in. They hung in to the very end. These people abandoned. They didn't see his death, but they probably felt deeply abandoned. Why do you think after the death they all go into hiding? Every single one of them hides. Why are they hiding? Because they think they're alone. And then Jesus shows up again. I'm not going to leave you alone, is what Jesus said, though. I'm going to give you somebody. Somebody that will blow wherever it wants to blow, do whatever it wants to do, be whatever it wants to be, and that is the Spirit. In the Gospel of John, they transliterate the word, which means they don't translate it, they put the word paraclete. And you're probably thinking, cleats. I wore those for soccer and baseball. That's a different cleat. This is a paraclete, which is the one that accompanies you at all times. The one who is always comes. Paraclete literally translates, I know, someone who comes alongside, like Mom is right now, Vivian. I told her it was fine if she talked to me during the worship experience, and she took me seriously. So I appreciate that. I do. The truth for all of us is that we are not alone. That the Alpha who was before us and the Omega that is after us surrounds us within and without and all around. God will never abandon you, never leave you. You can never do something so bad that God doesn't want to be with you anymore. You can never do something so good that makes God want to be with you more than before. It's not a measure of those things. It's all about love. If you love me, keep in touch. And how do you keep in touch? By loving each other. Because when you love each other, you see a little bit of me. When you love the lovable, sure. But when you love the unlovable, the ones that you don't want to touch or be near, then you're getting close to loving me. Because everyone you encounter and everywhere you go is someone who is loved by God. The ones that are easy to love. The little people who are almost 4 months old. They're easy to love. They're cute and have puffy cheeks, and we just think they're great, and they smile at us, and we think the world has come to an end. It's just beautiful. But then they grow up. They become teenagers. And we love them too. And we love them too. We all know people who are adults who might as well be teenagers. And it's hard to love them. And yet God does. And God tells us that's our gig too, loving them. If you love me, keep in touch. Keep in touch by loving those that are easy to love and those that are hard to love. This is your assignment this week. It's actually your assignment every day for as long as you draw breath. And that assignment is this: love all your neighbors. The ones that are easy, the ones that are hard, and the ones that are in between. Because there's all of those kinds of people in our lives. Love. It's the bottom line rule. If there's anything that we hope Mother's Day is about, it's about love. The desire to love that may be unrequited because we didn't become a mom. Or the desire to love the mom that has gone on to glory somewhere else. Mother's Day has that mixed message. But it's all, in the end, about love. The desire to love, to have someone to love, to be in love, to give love away. That's what today is about. And that's what this passage is about. You'll never be alone, and God will help you to love all the love. I know, too long. This is the cut the sermon short. If any of you decide that you ever need me to cut the sermon short, start crying in the sermon. And I'll be like, okay, maybe they need more. I'll go on for extra 15. Probably not. So, your assignment, what is your assignment again? Love each other. There you go. You passed. And it was, I guess, a pass-fail kind of thing. I'm going to invite you to remain seated. We're going to confess together, probably